Benito Mussolini is among the most famous leaders of the 20th century, and being the famous man he is, Mussolini assumed many titles. Among his many titles he was Prime Minister/Dictator of Italy from the March of Rome in 1922 until his deposition in 1943, known as Duce, an Italian title derived from the Latin word dux, meaning leader, and known by fellow fascists as El Duce, or the leader. But among his many titles, Benito Mussolini, despite being an ethnic Italian raised by a devout Catholic mother, the ruler of an overwhelming Catholic nation that is home of the Catholic Pope, Benito Mussolini was known as the protector of Islam. But why? Why was Benito Mussolini the protector of Islam? Following the establishment of Italian Libya in 1934, Mussolini implemented a policy aimed at fostering connections with Islam, the dominant religion of the region. He referred to the local population as, quote, Italian Muslims of the Fourth Shore of Italy, the term Fourth Shore originating from the geographical layout of Italy, a slender peninsula extending into the Mediterranean Sea, featuring two primary coastlines known as the First Shore along the Adriatic Sea in the east, and the Second Shore along the Tyrrhenian Sea in the west. The fascist expansionist ambitions of Italy envisioned the opposite Balkan shore of the Adriatic Sea, encompassing regions like Dalmatia, Montenegro, and Albania, as the Third Shore, while Libya on the Mediterranean Sea was designated the final and fourth shore. Mussolini also undertook various initiatives, such as constructing various mosques and Quranic schools. Additionally, facilities were prepared to assist pilgrims travelling to Mecca, the holiest city in Islam, and a high school of Islamic culture was established in Tripoli, the capital and largest city of Libya. However, beneath its apparent humanitarian facade, the policy of Mussolini and certain segments of the Islamic world revealed a shared recognition of common adversaries. Fascist Italy and Islam saw France and the United Kingdom as enemies. These shared interests emerged due to a mutual aversion to the provisions of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, which was largely influenced by France, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The treaty failed to fully address the demands of Italy and neglected the requests made by many factions of the Islamic world. Thus, to gain support of the local population and solidify an alliance, Mussolini, despite being a signatory of the Lateran Treaty with the Holy See, which created and recognized Vatican City, and being a leader of a major Catholic nation, chose to be granted the title of Protector of Islam. Mussolini's interpretation was that, with the Italian government assuming control over Libya in place of the Ottomans, he held a legal claim to such a title, as he saw himself as the heir to the Ottoman authority. Thus, on March 20th, 1937, on the outskirts of Tripoli, Mussolini was presented with the Sword of Islam by Yusuf Kedesk, a prominent Berber advocate of the Italian occupation against the Libyan resistance. The ceremony was extravagant, and when Mussolini arrived in Tripoli, he was welcomed by cannon salutes and leading a procession of 2,600 cavalrymen. Mussolini used the occasion to reinforce his bond with the Muslim population and pledged to provide, quote, peace, justice, well-being, and respect for the laws of the Prophet. The sword, adorned with intricate arabesque designs, featured a double-edged straight blade and a hilt embellished with solid gold friezes, but this is where things get even more outlandish. Ironically, the Sword of Islam wasn't made by Muslim hands, had no connection to Islam, and was in reality commissioned directly by Mussolini from an esteemed Italian art firm named
Picchiani e Barlacchi di Firenze,
a company which was founded in 1902, and a year before the Sword of Islam ceremony had made all the badges for the Italian team at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Despite the media's support for the regime, the ceremony sparked amusement among the Italian population due to its absurd, outlandish, and contradictory implications. This led to a situation where one of the photographs captured during the event, featuring Mussolini seated on a horse held by a groom via the halter, was retouched and published in its official version with the groom removed. The intention behind this alteration was to create the illusion that Mussolini was capable of riding his own horse without any assistance. In the subsequent year, a monument dedicated to Mussolini was unveiled in the central square of the Libyan capital of Tripoli as a tribute. On the base of the monument was an inscription that honoured Mussolini and read, To Benito Mussolini, peacemaker of the people, redeemer of the land of Libya. The mindful population and exhibitions where the Sword of Islam flash consecrate and the sign of the lictor, a loyalty that challenges the destiny. Following 1937, the Sword of Islam ceased to be utilised and was kept under protective watch in a small glass reliquary at the Rocca delle Caminate, a medieval castle located around 11 kilometres from the town of Pradapio, where Benito Mussolini was born. Constructed in the 10th century, the castle was generously bestowed to Benito Mussolini in 1927, who transformed it into a summer residence and even added a lighthouse, which shone a powerful light whenever the Italian leader was present within the grounds. In addition to its role as a summer home, the castle was unfortunately utilised as a site of torture, where individuals associated with the Italian resistance movement were subjected to beatings and even fatal acts of violence. However, any trace of the Sword of Islam vanished after July 25, 1943, when the Rocca della Camminate was subjected to devastation and looting by the Italian resistance after the fall of the fascist regime in Italy. This has been me, Jack, and if you somehow have the Sword of Islam in your possession, please leave a comment down below.